Welcome to the Swedish Watch Channel.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the invitation. Thanks.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about Sherpa.
So Sherpa Watch is a very young brand. So we were founded, or I founded them in 2020. And I started the company because I was really passionate about old Anika Sherpa watches from the 1960s and 70s.
Yeah.
And well, I asked myself, why don't they exist anymore? And I found out they went bankrupt in the 80s, then were bought by Hong Kong Chinese, but they never continued the brand history. And I wrote to them. They never replied. I wanted to work with them to bring back the glorious watches of the past. They never replied. So I found out that the brand name Sherpa was available in Europe. I registered it, and then I went step by step into the glorious adventure of founding a brand and bringing back watches.
Cool.
So what we have now, we have two watches in production. One is the Sherpa Ultra Drive, and the other one is Sherpa OPS, Operations, like a military watch. And they're both the only real compressor watches in the world.
Cool.
So they have the technology that basically it's self-sealing. The more water pressure, the more pressure on the gasket, on the case back, and also in the crowns. So the crowns are actually a design coming from the 1950s, and I revived it with modern materials. So the more water pressure is on the crown, the more pressure will be on the gasket, pressing the gasket to the tube. So that's the Sherpa Ultra Drive.
Yeah.
It was a watch very popular with A.Lange, the French acting or movie star. It has, of course, stainless steel case with the characteristic double crown. One is for the manipulation of the inner diving bezel. We have all components made in Switzerland and Germany.
Yeah.
We have a heavily domed sapphire box glass made in Switzerland. The dial is also slightly domed, made in Germany with applied indices, diamond polished. The bezel features orange lume. It's a mixture between day glow and night glow, developed together with RCA Tritech in Switzerland. What else? We have the hands are also faceted and diamond polished, and we have a very special double lollipop second hands, which also comes from the past. They also had that. The crowns are quite special. We make them ourselves because it's a very special design. So they are not screwed down. You can manipulate them every time you want to. If you pull the crown at 2 o'clock, you can manipulate the diving bezel. Right. And if you push it in again, then it's locked and it's not again accidentally moved. We have a beautifully made case back, which is fixed in a bayonet like a camera, and if you lock it, it's pre-compressed for everyday use, and if you dive down, the pressure of the water will press in the case back into the gasket. Yeah, for the depth, and we have a depth rating of 200 meters.
All right.
And we have another watch, which is the OPS. It's the very close sibling to the Ultra Dive. Basically, it's the same case, the same design regarding the compressor technology of the crown and the case back. But it is DLC coated, and in general, you don't see any polished surfaces. The hands are also faceted, but they're also satinized. And you have printed indices on the dial, not the applied indices. So very similar, yet so different. Yeah. So if you see them on the wrists, usually they look very different, and they feel sometimes even in a different size, even though they're exactly the same.
Okay.
We deliver them in different Tropic straps. The Tropic comes from Joseph Bonny in France. So we have the black one for both. We have the green one also available for the OPS, and we also have a white one for the Ultra Dive. Yeah. So that's the technical details of these watches.
Yeah.
The Sherpa name itself was put on watches the first time in '56. The brand Anika sponsored an expedition to Mount Everest and Lhotse, which are also seen here on our backdrop. And they found out during the expedition that the Swiss expedition was nice, but actually who were doing the job were the Sherpas. And then after that, they named one watch Sherpas, in honor of the Sherpas, and it was the most robust watch they had. And then followed a series of around 20 watches, which were really, really good, even now, retrospectively, compared to other big brands.
Yeah.
So, but the Sherpas, they are Tibetans. I'm also Tibetan Buddhist, so I was thinking, what can I do to put something into the watch that has to do with the Sherpas? And the Sherpas, they are known to be calm in every situation, how crazy it might be on the mountain. And they do that through meditation and saying mantras. And so I was thinking, okay, they're saying mantras, and some of the old Tibetans, they use these prayer wheels, as you can see. And this movement of the prayer wheel is like saying the mantras. So I was thinking maybe I could put something into the turning wheels of a movement. And I asked my Tibetan Buddhist teacher, if this is a crazy idea, do I sell something fake to people just to make marketing? He said, no, it's fine, it's fine. But he looked at my plans and said, okay, no. Come on, but we have to change this, you know, it's not the right order and this and that. So we discussed it in detail. He said, okay, if you do it like this, it's positive. And I went out, bought the 2 wheels and thought, oh no, what have I done? Because if you see them, these are the wheels that we can actually use. So it was very difficult to find someone to engrave the mantras onto these wheels. This is the anchor wheel, this is the second wheel. Yeah. And as you always say, like in cooking show, we've already prepared something for you. So basically, this is the anchor wheel. Yeah. And as you can see in comparison, we found a way to engrave really precisely the Om Mani Padme Hum mantra of the Tibetans. And the same goes for the second wheel. So if you just compare the size and you zoom in, it's really like painted with a very, very fine brush. Yeah. And these watches, the movements, make 30 million mantras per year. That's why we call the movement mantramatic.
Okay, cool.
So it is basically, in a traditional sense, it's a prayer wheel, but it's based on a Sellita SW200/1 in top regulation, in top finishing, gold-plated. We have our own rotor. It's also engraved, saying, may all beings be happy and free. That is also a Buddhist wish. I started off with may all beings be happy, yeah. And then came the lockdowns, and I thought, at least in Germany, yeah. And I thought, okay, freedom, I mean, happiness, freedom are connected, so I have to put something positive on there too. So, well, these are the movements we call mantramatic. Because of the modification, basically we take the movement apart, half of it, exchange the wheels, we laser the wheels, and then put them back again, yeah. We also have the process. So basically, that's me, the CEO, putting the wheel into a very high precision fixture, which is made by an engineer who's also working for Uhrwerk, Cyrano-Devonté. So it's so precise that the mantra is in the same position each time. You will see a small flame going around, yeah, like this, a light point, yeah, and that's basically the laser writing the mantra into it. Yeah. Nice. So that's more or less the story.
Yeah, cool. Nice talking to you and good luck today.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, take care.